So moving ahead, the very first question to answer from this lesson is, what did the newly married couple's house look like? It's a shared answer question, so we got to write 75 words, and I advise you to write in 2 paragraphs. Right, the first paragraph is the introduction paragraph, whereas the second paragraph is the main answer. Right, in the introduction paragraph, you write what the title is, who the writer is, what the main theme is, and in the main paragraph, you answer the question, right? So let's see this answer that I have prepared for you. The story Neighbors was written by an Australian writer, Tim Winton. In this story, the writer develops an idea that linguistic and cultural barriers do not prevent neighbors from helping each other. This is the introduction. Look at the second paragraph. The couple's house was small, it had high ceilings and pane windows, so it looked like an elegant cottage. They could have a view of the town from their study room. Although it was a little house, it was big enough for 2 people to live in. Okay, this is the answer. Moving ahead. The second question, how did the young couple identify their neighbors in the beginning of their arrival? So here I have given you the main part of the answer, means the second paragraph. In the beginning of their arrival, the young couple thought that their neighbors were uncultured, ill-mannered, and rather disturbing. They thought that their neighbors were not of their status. On the one side, there was a Macedonian family that was very noisy. Their children used to urinate in the street, and on the other side, there was a carpenter from Poland who used to hammer nails all day long. So they were anxious about their neighbors and tried to maintain a distance with them. Moving ahead to the third question, how did the neighbors help the young couple in the kitchen garden? If you go through the story, you can see many or several examples of the way the neighbors helped the young couple. We have been asked this question. When autumn came, the young couple cleared their kitchen garden to plant leeks, onions, cabbage, and other vegetables. It drew the attention of their neighbors. They came there voluntarily and offered them suggestions on healing, mulching, and spacing. A big woman with black eyes gave them a bag full of garlic cloves to plant in. Moving ahead to the fourth question. Why were the people in the neighborhood surprised at the role of the young man and his wife in their family? It's a very crucial question. The people in the neighborhood had a traditional mindset. They used to think that women had to stay at home doing the household work and men had to go to work to earn a living. The young couple did just the opposite. The young man stayed at home to do his thesis, whereas his wife would get to work. It was quite unexpected for the neighbors, so they were surprised at the role of the young man and his wife. I believe you are catching up. Now, the fifth question. How did the neighbors respond to the woman's pregnancy? Very simple. As soon as the neighbors came to know about the young woman's pregnancy, they started smiling at her. It means that they were happy to know about it. Later, some neighbors offered her chocolates, hand-knitted baby suits, and others. The Italian women began to offer names for the baby, and the Greek women pulled her skirt up, felt her belly, telling her it was bound to be a baby boy. Okay, so that is the response made by the neighbors when they came to know about the woman's pregnancy. Alright, the way the neighbors reacted here, so a pictorial illustration I have made. Now the next question here, why did the young man begin to weep at the end of the story? So guys, this catches the main theme of the story. Very crucial question, important question for examination. Alright, the young man felt helpless while his wife was laboring to give birth to the child. He felt ever so lonely. However, when the newly born baby made its first cry at midnight, the young man heard some people cheering outside. Who could there be? As he rushed out of the house, he saw 12 bleary faces, means dark faces, on the Macedonian side. He came to know that his neighbors were waiting to welcome the baby with cheers. He knew that they were even ready to offer them immediate help in case of unsuccessful childbirth, right? So this was rather unexpected, right? At this point, the young man realized his stupidity and narrow thinking. Until then, he had kept his neighbors at a distance. Now he saw that they were the first people with whom he could share his both pain and pleasure. So this realization was very painful for him, and so he began to weep at the end of the story. I believe you are catching up. And now here is another question. Why do you think the author did not characterize the persons in the story with proper names. Alright, so in the story, you cannot see the proper names given to the characters. Right? Why do you think the story writer has not given their proper name like John, maybe like Ben, or Harry, or any other person? The answer goes like this. This story has been set in a multicultural Australian society. In a multicultural society, the first identity of the people is by their home country. So the writer introduces the characters as Macedonian family, widower from Poland, Italian women, Greek women, etc. So this clarifies where they have come from and what kind of neighborhood they live in. By doing this, it is easier for the writer to clarify the cultural misunderstanding between them. So this intent wouldn't have been clear if the writer had introduced the characters with their proper names. You get right this much? I think I have clarified. Now here I give you one sample long answer. Alright, long answers are to be written for 150 words. I suggest you that you should write long answers minimum in 3 paragraphs: introduction, body, and conclusion. So let me read the question. The story shows that linguistic and cultural barriers do not create any obstacles in human relationships. Cite some examples means find some examples and give them from the story where the neighbors have transcended such barriers. Transcending, it means crossing such kind of barriers, overcoming such kind of barriers and helping the neighbors. Can you think of some examples from the story? I have given you the entire answer over here. Let me read it out here. Obviously, the story implies an idea that linguistic and cultural barriers do not create any obstacles in human relationships. In the story, the writer presents a multicultural society in Australia. The neighbors do not understand the language of other neighbors, but they can help each other in many ways. Alright? Going through the story, we find plenty of situations in which the neighbors overcome such barriers and successfully help each other. For example, the widower from Poland fixes the hen house for the young couple without being expert. He also offers them a barrel full of wood scraps. The young couple do not understand a word he says. Likewise, the neighbors offer them suggestions on healing, mulching, and spacing when they work in the backyard. They are planting cabbage, garlic, this and that, vegetables in the backyard, in the kitchen yard. So the neighbors come to help them. The Italian and Greek women smile at the young woman when she is pregnant. They also bring her some presents and wish her good luck for the childbirth. Likewise, the Macedonian family teach them how to slaughter and pluck the birds. They remain vigilant, very watchful on the night of the childbirth to welcome the baby in spite of the fact that they don't know each other's language. Right? So, these 2 paragraphs gone, right? And the last concluding paragraph. Thus, we can find many allusions, examples in the story in which the neighbors manage to transcend, or that means to cross, their linguistic and cultural barriers to help each other. Okay? I believe you can write the answers this way. Subscribe to my channel for further exercises. And thank you very much for watching me. Bye-bye, everybody.